Hi there, if you didn't notice, this is my first video. I finally decided to start doing something more with the community other than stalking the fanworks. Since this is my first video, let's start with the "Hi, who the hey are you" sequence. I'm a long-time brony, I've been a fan since Season 1, though I wasn't very active into the fanworks until Season 2. While the music is, well, fantastic, what always interested me more were the episode breakdowns and interpretations. Some interpretations had blown me away entirely. They've actually inspired me to look just as deeply into the episodes myself. I've begun to notice things that I wouldn't have otherwise noticed, especially certain character developments. Which brings me to my topic. Who the hey is Sunset Shimmer? Sunset Shimmer, the antagonist from Equestria Girls, has been declared as the least characterized and most underdeveloped My Little Pony antagonist next to King Sombra. I won't argue that she seems like a very flat and two-dimensional character because, well, it's true. But truth be told, the fact that we hear nothing about her other than her being the mean queen of the high school is, in my opinion, brilliant. Now, I've already seen a fair share of reviews about the movie as a whole, most of which were very well executed, but I couldn't help but notice that each and every one of the ones that I've seen at least missed a very subtle characterization feature for this mystery antagonist. This actually surprised me because if it were something less subtle, then it would have to be explained further, which I do not excuse DHX from. It really should have been expanded on. But enough talk, I'll show it to you here.
Princess of the Fall Formal?
It's Canterlot High's Big Fall Dance.
Like the Grand Galloping Gala?
A Grand Galloping Gala?
Oh, it was a big deal at my old school.
And was there a princess?
Yes, but she wasn't exactly a student.
Here at Canterlot High, the students select one of their peers to represent them. She receives her crown at the Fall Formal.
Right there, those three photographs show us everything we need to know about Sunset Shimmer, and here's why. Take a look at the first photograph. Sunset Shimmer almost looks happy and excited about winning the title, but this could just be a mask, right? Well, it's time to go into the explanation of something that is open for serious debate, so just stay with me here, because I happen to be talking about symbolism. That's right, I said it. I have an opinion, and I'm going to talk about it. The first thing that we notice when looking at the actual symbolism and the difference of each photograph is the dress. In the first photo, Sunset Shimmer is wearing a plain and simple white dress with a gold lacing around her abdominal area. In most cases, the color scheme of white and gold represents purity and innocence. Wait, Sunset Shimmer is wearing something that represents the two things that she shows nothing but the opposite of? Stay with me here. The second photo shows a much more arrogant version wearing a purple dress, partially light and a bit more dark. That's a fairly significant difference to me because it shows us that some of the purity and innocence in her first photo has been altered, either having vanished or been corrupted. Are you still with me? Good, because we're going to look at her third photo. Talk about insane, even her pupils look smaller. But let's look at this dress. It's the same purple that was on the former dress's darker tone with some orange. In fact, the only color that can be considered a light color in comparison to the rest is the yellow, and that's the same color as her skin. To me, this represents a total loss of the first picture's display of kindness and innocence. It's all gone. The dress has her skin tone on it as well, as if to say this is her true mindset. This was clear enough with her facial expressions, but again, stay with me here. There's another part of the pictures we need to look at. The crowns. Yep. The crowns. The first crown is simple and elegant. It's a flower with just one small jewel embedded into it. In fact, it almost looks like a tiara, though we know it most likely isn't. The next photo features a different crown, but it's actually very different. We went from a tiara semblance to something that looks more like royalty. The next picture gets even more like a stereotypical monarchy-style crown. It's almost as if the first is fit for a princess, the second is for a queen, and the third is more of an empress. Empress? Isn't that basically how the entire student body of Canterlot High sees her as? If that's the case, then did the students see her as the pictures display her in the previous years? My headcanon says yes, and then some. So I told her to stay with me, right? Well, here's where I piece it all together. Now, we don't know how the high school system works, but in most cases that I know of, there are 4 years to high school: freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. Since there are 3 pictures, we can assume this is either the first year she was in this world, or she's been here for a while and this was just the first year that she won. We don't know. Both have interesting interpretations, but I'm going to assume that this is her 4th year here. But back up, if this is her 4th year here, then why are there 3 photos? Well, if Sunset Shimmer didn't win the first year, then there wouldn't be a photograph about it. Actually, I find this to be the more likely scenario. For my reasoning, we have to back up even further. Remember this?
Sunset Shimmer, a former student of mine. She began her studies with me not long before twilight. But when she did not get what she wanted as quickly as she liked, she turned cruel and dishonest. I tried to help her, but she eventually decided to abandon her studies and pursue her own path.
Celestia says it was not long before Twilight that Sunset Shimmer was her student, and since how much time qualifies as a long time in Alicorn years, we can assume that the event that caused her to run away took place 4 years ago. What this event was, we don't know, but we can all imagine it was rather significant to cause a protege of the most powerful Alicorn ever to run off. Whatever the event was, probably set Sunset Shimmer into a fit of rage or depression. I, for one, am assuming depression. If it were a fit of rage, I doubt Celestia wouldn't have gone after her to try to prevent anything bad from happening. Being depressed in a new world, her sense of belonging was jeopardized greatly, which drew her to Canterlot High in an attempt to drop her feelings. Since she was new to school, she didn't make any friends very quickly, with the exception of one particular person, who was genuinely a kind person overall. Yup, it was Flash Sentry. Sunset Shimmer met Flash in a similar fashion as Twilight, though most certainly not the same. It would only be logical to assume that Sunset Shimmer was just as, if not more confused than Twilight when she came into this new world as well, and Flash definitely isn't the type to discriminate against someone for acting strange. From this newfound friendship, they began to date. She would have easily fallen for someone that was willing to bring her in after what she had went through. At the time in Canterlot High, a lot more people got along, so with her and Flash being so close, she created more bonds with people. Cue sophomore year, the fall formal is approaching. This would be the first year that Sunset Shimmer signs up for the fall formal princess now that she knows people. As we already know, she wins, and she is honored to have won. She found people willing to accept her. But the school year starts in the fall, right? So then she has the rest of the year to revel in the attention of others, which is when her idea spurts. At this point, it's really nothing more than a thought, which is pushed off until the next year, junior year, when she wins again. The second victory brings out some of her past, and she begins to think that if the people in this world can elect her as her princess, then she can take the same role in Equestria. But she can't go in yet. She has to run some sort of a test first, if you will. This is when the relationship between her and Flash Sentry falls apart. He doesn't like her newfound dark side and breaks it off with her. This explains why she didn't do anything to him. She had bigger plans, and if they succeeded, she didn't need him, or could take him by force if she really wanted to. By the time sophomore year ends and junior year has begun, students already view her as an empress, so to speak, who rules over the school. But when she finds herself with a rival for the fall formal princess, she takes her test and applies it. Sunset Shimmer needs to know if she can take down an opposing force using her power over the other students. She does this with the aid of Snips and Snails because she already drew the crowds apart. All she needs is the majority at this point. But she also needs to humiliate the opposer to make sure that nobody dare oppose her next year. She accomplishes her goal, which would be why we see her enthusiasm in the third photo. Up to this point, she hadn't entirely thought out her plan, but again, she has the whole year to do so. All she needs to do is hold her ground as the owner of the social game until she can get her own crown. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my headcanon as to who Sunset Shimmer was. But I'm not finished yet. There's still some things that need to be addressed. Let's start with, why did Sunset Shimmer drive the main five apart, which actually has a more simple answer than you might think. She didn't. All she did was drive the select groups apart. Each of the main five, assumably, had more respected roles which could influence the others within the same social group. She very well could have done this to all the other students as well. Now, a question many bronies have been asking since the movie came out is, why did Sunset Shimmer seek forgiveness so easily and instantly? Well, she just wanted to be accepted in the beginning, right? At the end of the day, home is where the heart is, and her home was Equestria. Sadness turns into a rage fairly easily, which is exactly what happened. I would go so far as to even say that she still wants to return to Equestria, but she really feels the need to repent for her actions by fixing the things she had destroyed, and might even return at a later date. And thank you for watching. That pretty much sums up my first video. I'd like to thank you for taking your time to watch it. If you like the video, please do share it, because if I get enough views, I can guarantee that there will be a review for the entire Equestria Girls movie. And also, one more thing before I do leave. You remember when I said that Sombra was a pretty two-dimensional character? I've put in this annotation that's right here, that if you look at Texarax's video that interprets King Sombra, you might think differently. I suggest you check it out. Again, thank you for watching.